Welcome back to the Hitstick. Dallas, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. I'm good.
Ready for some Week 11 football?
Heck yeah, man.
There's some crazy freaking games this week from what I've seen so far.
Yes.
You want to go over how last week went, and then we'll dive into this week's picks for Week 11?
Heck yeah, man.
I bet. Um, I definitely didn't see a lot of the matchups going the way they did, but we both ended up with our same records for picks after the first week of doing this. So, you want to recap? We'll go over the first game. Obviously, it was uh, here. Give me just a second. So, our first games it was Atlanta and Carolina. What are your thoughts on that game? That was a crazy game. We both
Uh,
we both had Atlanta, right?
yeah, Atlanta, the Falcons did not show up to play in that game. They got ran all over by the Panthers.
Yeah,
Not good looks for them.
Carolina just looked phenomenal on offense. Passing game was okay. I mean, PJ Walker's obviously not a true starting quarterback in my opinion in the NFL. He's a backup definitely. But he did what he had to do as a quarterback.
Yeah,
The running game for Carolina's looked insane with Donta Foreman. He's looked like a true starter, hidden gem running back that came out of nowhere.
yeah, they have been running the ball a lot since he started.
How much did he actually run in that game?
I think it was 33 carries.
Bring up this.
If I'm not mistaken, it's like 33 carries for 130 some
Let
yards.
me take a look. He ran the ball 31 times for 130.
31.
Yeah, that's actually insane.
That's a lot of work, man. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, he moved the ball a lot.
Yes.
Laviska Shenault looked good in that game, receiving
Yeah.
and running the football.
Hmm.
He's like one of my favorite Panthers players at the moment. Honestly,
Yeah.
I liked him in Jacksonville. I like him in Carolina. I think they need to utilize him more. I think he's underutilized still.
Yeah.
He's got the
100%.
talent to be a very good player there.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of Debo. I can't lie. Like
Yeah,
the way that.
he's got that like running back talent. He just knows how to move the football around.
Yep.
On the flip side of the ball, Mariota's looked terrible. Still looks terrible. Played really terrible again. Not utilizing his players. The running game is obsolete in Atlanta to say the least. Uh,
Yeah, they are struggling, man.
yeah, that team's just bad.
Yeah.
I didn't think it would look that bad, but they looked horrible, and they ended up losing. We were both wrong on that pick, but we didn't count that game because we didn't record before the Thursday night game.
Yeah.
So that one didn't go against our record. The next game we had was Tampa versus Seattle in Germany. Um, I said that Tampa was going to win this game. I genuinely thought they looked better going into that matchup, and they ended up coming out with the win. They held on. It kind of got a little scary in the second half. They actually shut the Seahawks out in the first half, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And then it kind of got hairy towards the second half. Your thoughts on that game? You watch that game at all, or
I didn't. I think that game was one at like 9 in the morning. Like
it was an
I'm
early
pretty
game?
sure I might have still been in bed, but I caught some highlights and whatnot from it. I went with Seattle only because I think Gino has played above and beyond this year. Although I do think that's probably the best defense he's faced all year, so I guess the outcome makes sense.
Yeah, they actually did pitch a shutout in the first half. It was 14-0 at halftime, Tampa. And then it got closer. The final score was 21-16. So I mean, they put up 16 in the second half. The Tampa's 7 in the. I mean, it got
Yeah,
close, but Tampa came out on top. Run game, they did not run the football well. It looks like Gino was their leading rusher. He only had 22
yeah,
yards on the ground.
that's probably not a good thing.
Kenneth Walker, 10 carries for 17 yards, man.
Yeah, that's a credit though to Tampa Bay's one of the best run stopping defenses in the league. I mean, they have a crazy defensive front, man. Those guys, big, very aggressive. So I think that makes sense. Seattle has kind of been milking their run game. Defense like that, I don't think it.
Yeah,
Obviously, clearly, it didn't work well. So
they've been using Kenneth Walker a lot this
yeah,
year. Gino looked good. He was 23 of 33 for 275 and then 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. So I mean,
yeah,
he was still playing well. But Tampa was obviously just the better team in that game. They were more prepared. Tom Brady looking like himself. 22 of 29, 258, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. He had the obviously the fake play with Leonard Fournette throwing him the football, but we all saw how that outcome
yeah.
that
That was
play.
funny. That was good.
Rashad White had kind of a breakout game. Had 105 yards on the ground, 22 carries as a rookie, not bad. Outplayed Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette had a touchdown, but only 57 yards on the ground. Not bad for Tampa in that game. I predicted that they looked better as of late. I think they're turning the corner, in my opinion. The next game we had was Detroit versus Chicago. In Chicago,
That game was
you
very
picked the winner here. I was surprised with Detroit coming out on top in this one. I genuinely thought the Bears had it in them. But Detroit squeezed it out. They got that dub. They played better. They definitely played better in that game. The second half was insane. It was quiet early on. It was defensive heavy, and then I don't know what happened at halftime, but both teams came out firing second half. Justin Fields, again, another monster game on the grounds.
Yep. He looks really. I will say Justin Fields has looked. He hasn't looked very great throwing the ball this year, but he's looked good, like keeping plays alive, considering the stuff he has options with.
He's definitely making better choices with the football. He's not forcing things like he was doing early on in his career. He wasn't just running the football because he wanted to run the football. He's developed more into a better passer in a sense, more so than just a run-heavy quarterback, where he was just running the football aimlessly and then just throwing the football because he has to, because he's a quarterback. He's making decisions with football better. Obviously, he's still making some bad throws. He obviously threw a pick in this game. But he did have 167 yards passing. He made some nice throws to Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet looked great in this game.
Yeah,
he was open a lot. Detroit was obviously making errors in the secondary, but he definitely looked a lot better. Amon-Ra St. Brown on the other side of the field, 10 catches, 119 yards. That kid is a young stud on that offense. He's pretty much their entire offense at this point. DeAndre Swift, 6 carries for 6 yards. Was that his first game back from injury? I think it was.
He did get a touchdown though, but I think that was on the goal line.
Yeah, so I mean, he definitely wasn't effective at all in this game. Jamal Williams obviously getting in the end zone again. He's their leading scorer.
Yeah.
Jared Goff.
I think it would be DeAndre Swift would probably lead the team, but he was hurt. So.
Yeah, with the injuries. I mean, Jamal Williams has just been their goal line guy anyway. They sub out Swift in the red zone.
Mm-hmm.
Goff was okay, 19 of 26, 236 and touchdown. So I mean, overall it was a great game. Detroit came out on top. I think they squeezed by in that one. I don't believe that.
Yeah, they got
Detroit
that late score, and I think it really was the dagger for Chicago.
Yeah, I don't think Detroit's. I think they're learning. I think this is a learning season for them. They're getting wins for Dan Campbell, so I'm happy for that. I like Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
He knows how to motivate a locker room, I'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
Next game we had Cleveland at Miami. We saw what the outcome was going to be before that game even started. Miami's just the better powerhouse offense. They blew out Cleveland in Miami. Nothing crazy there. Tyreek Hill, that offense is just too powerful. Tua Tagovailoa having a breakout season. He looks phenomenal. Even without the injury, he's still one of the top passers in the league. Or even with the injury, I mean. Jeff Wilson, stepped in, had a monster game, 17 for 119 and a touchdown.
Yep.
Mostert looked good in the offsets that they do with him and Wilson, so it looks good. That offense running the football looks good, passing the football looks good, the defense looks good. They did lose. What was the guy's name? Emmanuel Ogbah. They lost him for the year. That's a hit on the defense for them, but I think they have the pieces to replace him. I think they'll be okay. That's a big loss on the defensive side of the football. Cleveland's just not there in my opinion. Brissett, not a true starting quarterback. I don't think. Nick Chubb had a decent game, but the running game kind of squandered when they fell behind, so they kind of just shut down that.
Yeah.
Nothing surprising there, though, for me, in my opinion. I mean, the Dolphins are just a better team.
Yeah, the Dolphins have been really great this year.
And one of their best starts in forever now. But I saw they didn't even punt the football. Again,
nope.
The first time in freaking forever that they haven't punted the football once in a single game.
Yep.
Wow, their punter, I think, he's had 2 punts in the last 3 games.
Yep.
So
very efficient offense right now, man.
Yeah, they're just moving the football and scoring.
I'm excited if I'm a Dolphins fan, to be honest. The team looks great.
First place in November. That's a pretty good spot to be in.
Yeah.
We both got that game right. The next game, Tennessee, Denver. This game was boring. No offense either side of the football.
Yeah.
Nothing surprising. Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos, they suck. They flat out suck this year. Tennessee, although they're in first place in their division, they're not a good football team. I think they're just there by virtue of the AFC South being terrible. Tannehill's not a solution for that team. Derrick Henry had a quiet game. He really did. 19 carries for 53 yards, no touchdowns. And he's obviously not a big guy in the passing game, so quiet game from him. It was just a very quiet, boring football game. No one really did anything special. Denver had one big play, and that was their entire offense. Outside of that, they didn't move the football. They had 0 run game, no one over 25 yards rushing. Russell Wilson threw the football 42 times, threw a pick. He only completed 21 passes. That's a problem. He's just not being efficient as a quarterback. That's pretty much all I can say there. We both had Tennessee. Tennessee won the game. Nothing really much more to say about that. The next game was probably the best football game that I've ever seen in my entire life. Probably one for the century books. Minnesota versus Buffalo in Buffalo. That game was insane. Both sides of the football were playing phenomenally. Players were making plays that I've never seen before. The catches by Stephon Diggs and Justin Jefferson were just absurd. I was speechless, literally. I don't know what I was watching between the two of those teams. Insane. Freaking insane.
Oh my.
That Justin Jefferson catch, dude, like, I don't even know how to describe what I saw. That man made a one-handed catch while pulling the football away from a defender who had an interception. Like, what?
And then kept it off the ground as he's landing.
Yeah, and kept it from hitting the football field as he's landing on the ground, falling. Just insane.
That catch was insane. It seemed like Stephon and Justin Jefferson were having a competition. Who can have the better catch this game?
Yeah, I mean, we saw the Diggs catch first. It was a one-handed catch, jumping probably 12 feet into the freaking sky. I'm not even kidding. Like, he was that high off the ground, one-handed catch. That I thought that was the best catch that I had seen in a long time, if not forever. And then Jefferson made that play towards the end of the game, and I was just.
And it's just the craziness of that catch is because, what was it, 4th and 28? 4th and.
It was 4th and long. I don't know exactly how long the play was.
Like, the game's, if he doesn't make that catch, the game's done. The Bills win.
Yeah.
Then he makes that catch, and then he makes another catch later on in that drive and puts him at the 1 yard line.
Oh.
bro, that man said, "I'm gonna win this football game myself."
This game could have
That game was
gone.
crazy.
This game could have gone either way. It really could have. It came down to a crazy goal line play. The freaking fumble touchdown at the end of the game to tie the game and send it into overtime. Just insane. Actually, no. I'm sorry. So there was the fumble touchdown that gave Minnesota the lead. And then Buffalo drove and scored with 30 seconds left on the clock. They scored a field goal to tie the game to send it into overtime. And then Minnesota got obviously the winning field goal. Crazy game. Josh Allen had some sloppy plays in this game. He definitely made some mistakes that he doesn't normally make, and I was surprised by that, honestly. He looked like he was under pressure a lot, and also with the injury, definitely didn't help him at all. He looked sluggish at times.
Yeah, that was not one of Josh Allen's greater performances. He probably definitely wishes he could run that one back.
Yeah, he definitely utilized his legs a lot more in this game. He was obviously their leading rusher again, which seems to be a growing trend for that team. Their running game is a little iffy at times. Singletary, I don't think the answer at running back for them. He's not performing well this year. I don't believe. I know he had 2 touchdowns in this game, but he only had 47 yards on 13 carries. And obviously they committed to the passing game late. I think both teams did. So
yeah,
but
he's having I think a little more of a down year. But then again, I also think the Bills have transitioned into a lot more of a pass heavy offense.
Yeah, definitely, especially with
throwing the ball way more.
Especially the breakout with Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis is having a phenomenal season as a number 2 behind Stephon Diggs. He's stepped up majorly this year. I think he's going to be a very, very heavy presence for him in that offense from here on out. So him and Josh Allen have definitely got a good thing going there.
I think Devin Singletary is a good piece for them. He does fill a good role. He does come out of the backfield a lot and catch passes, and he moves the ball through the air as well. So he kind of right now he's kind of doing a little bit of everything. He's just strictly running the ball, and he's not running the ball a lot, but he is putting up, like, I wouldn't say they're great numbers, but they're not bad numbers either. I feel like he's just a good piece for them right now.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Personal opinion.
I definitely agree with that. The next game, the Texans at MetLife. I can't even think of the word anymore for that stadium. Name of that stadium. They're playing the Giants though. The Giants came out on top. They've looked good. Daniel Jones just being consistent, and that's I think what they need. He's not a top tier quarterback in the NFL, but he is getting the job done as a quarterback for them. 13 to 17, 197, and 2 touchdowns. Not bad. Not bad. Like I said, very consistent. No turnovers. He's moving the football. Yep. He's making plays when he needs to with the receivers that he has. They don't have anyone on that team that's a top tier wide receiver by any means. Their leading receiver in this game was Darius Slayton. 3 catches for 95 yards and a touchdown. So, I mean, he's getting the job done. Saquon Barkley, though, that man is God himself. He's having a fucking insane 35 carries for 152 yards and a touchdown in this game. Like, insane.
He is their workhorse, man. He's definitely come out and established himself, I think, as a top 5 running back again.
He's playing better than Derrick Henry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Derrick Henry's leading the league in rushing yards. For me, I can't say it, but I can say that Saquon has played great.
He has, and they're utilizing him in the passing game too. He's playing good football in every aspect.
Yeah.
On the flip side, the Texans, they just flat out suck. Dameon Pierce had a better game this week. He was a little quiet last week. 17 carries for 94 yards. He looked pretty decent. I think they have been utilizing him too much, so teams are starting to key on him a little bit more. I think that's going to hurt their offense, in my opinion. The passing game is obviously not good. Davis
Yeah.
Mills, not the answer in Houston. They're definitely leaning towards drafting a quarterback. 22 of 37 for 319, touchdown and a pick. He's just not getting the football down the football field. They're getting the ball and then they're not doing anything with it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think they punted the football 5 times in that game. Not great. They weren't efficient third down either. Yeah, they definitely aren't doing what they should when they have the football in their hands.
Yeah, 100%. I think that team probably for the rest of the season, I'm thinking probably going to see them run the ball a lot, like a lot more than they have. Probably. I don't think that team has anything. Obviously, they're not in the playoff hunt. So
They're playing for a top pick, playing for at this point, in my
yeah,
opinion. The next game we had Jacksonville at Kansas City. Obviously, we both had Kansas City. They're the better team. They're a Super Bowl contender. Obviously, Jacksonville, they're not. They definitely played better than a lot of people definitely gave them credit for in this game. They came out swinging. They kicked an onside kick to start the game, covered it, but they didn't do anything with it. And then obviously Pat Mahomes with the football, he did what Pat Mahomes does: 26 to 35, 331, 4 touchdowns and a pick. The pick was kind of a garbage time interception. He was consistent. Yeah. He does what he does. He's the best quarterback in the NFL by a long shot, honestly, at this point.
Yeah.
That team definitely primed for a late playoff run, for sure. On the other side, Etienne, kind of quiet game, running the football. Trevor Lawrence, 29 of 40, 259, 2 touchdowns. So he played pretty well. Christian Kirk had a kind of a breakout game. He's been a very good wide receiver. Trevor Lawrence and him have definitely established a good connection together, which is nice to see. Especially for a guy coming in from Arizona where they didn't really utilize him. So it's nice to see a guy come in and they turn the football up with him. I think that's been nice for them. There's definitely a few pieces away from being tender, in my opinion, but I think they have the pieces established where they only need a few more to have a solid team. Etienne definitely looks better as a starter than he does as a backup. I think they're in the right direction, but this year's just. The next game we had was the Saints versus the Steelers, and neither of us saw the outcome of this happening. Steelers came out, and the Saints didn't. That's pretty much all I gotta say. Yeah, TJ Watt, that man makes that defense look completely different. The pressure that he causes on opposing quarterbacks makes that defense a completely different aspect on it. Like, everyone plays better when he's on the football field. It's insane. They look like a completely different team with him on the football field. He himself, that man had 2 tackles alone. He didn't have any sacks in this game, but he put so much pressure on the football that it caused a lot of mistakes by Andy Dalton. Dalton looked terrible. They had 0 run game. None. Alvin Kamara had 26 yards rushing.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much all of their offense. Andy Dalton had 17 for 27, 174, and a touchdown with 2 picks. So they literally just didn't show up in Pittsburgh. Najee Harris kind of had a little bit of a breakout this game. He looked a little better. He's had a really off year this year, but 20 carries for 99 yards. He looked more like himself, his true self.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, so, I mean, everyone thought he was going to be, like, the stud running. And so far this year, he hasn't really gotten it good. Like, he's struggled at times to move the football. He's not really getting upfield. He's getting, like, these little dink and dunk runs for 3 to 4 yards, and that's it. And he's not really pushing past that, getting into that second level. He's just definitely struggled to do that, and I don't think it has much to do with that offensive line. The offensive line didn't change from. They brought back. Yeah. They returned all 5 of their starters, so it's not an offensive line issue. I don't think. I think they're just not running efficiently. They're not getting the ball into that second level, getting the little short runs past that. They're not getting upfield blocks. They're not getting pressure or like power up the middle. It's just short runs, and that's it. And I think
Yep.
Najee's kind of just stuck in that right now. He's in like a rut. But that offense isn't moving the football efficiently either. Kenny Pickett, he's not doing well. He really isn't.
Yeah, even for like him being a rookie quarterback and all, I'm not a fan.
He
I feel
seems
like he's
more like
doing
of a
everything wrong.
yeah. He seems more of like a running quarterback. Like he doesn't really want to throw the football. I think when he goes to throw the football, he's making poor decisions. And as a rookie, that can happen. It's true. He was supposed to be the most NFL ready quarterback, wasn't he? If I'm not mistaken, from what all those scouts were saying, and he doesn't look NFL ready. I think he looks like he needs more time to develop, and I don't think they had the quarterback for him to develop behind in Mitch Trubisky. So I think they were in a rough spot already, and then forcing him in here at this point, it's showing in that offense. They're struggling to move the football. Both teams obviously are not doing great this year, but I definitely didn't see New Orleans up.
Yeah, yeah. New Orleans just did not show up to that game. I feel like they could have very easily won that game, but like 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 you said, they didn't come to play. They weren't ready for the game.
They really weren't. The next game we had Colts at Raiders. Wow, that's all I can say. Jeff Saturday and company got that team ready to frickin' play football, apparently. They changed out, obviously, all of the coaches on offense, including Saturday, obviously, being the interim. The entire old staff had Sam Ellinger in at quarterback, and up until whenever they hired Saturday, like midweek, it was still Ellinger practicing with the ones, and then all of a sudden, Saturday's in, Matt Ryan's the starting quarterback again. And Matt Ryan came out and he threw the football well. He was efficient. 21 of 28, 222, and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor. Where the hell was this all year? 22 for 147 and a touchdown? I know he was hurt, but like, damn. This was a completely different freaking Colts offense.
Jonathan Taylor's back, man. That's crazy what happens when you get your star talent back, man. That team looked totally different.
They really did. And the Raiders, they held on, but they just didn't get it done. Derek Carr, 24-38, 248, 2 touchdowns. They kind of shut down Josh Jacobs in this game, at least from his aspects. He only had 21 carries for 78 yards and a touchdown. Adams looked good, so that looks nice to see. Derek Carr pretty much has one option at offense right now with, what was his name? Tight end. Can't even think of the name.
Darren Waller.
Darren Waller. He is. He's on IR, I believe. Didn't play in this game, obviously. So, I mean, they have 2 offensive players at this point. Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs. So, it makes sense as to why the offense was kind of limited. They should have won this game, though, in my opinion. The Colts flat out just suck.
Did Hunter Renfrow play for the Raiders?
No Renfrow. He's hurt too. Yeah.
Okay.
Their top 3 receivers right now are Devontae Adams, Mac Hollins, and Keelan Cole. Yeah, so they pretty much just have 2 options at offense at the moment, and it showed. It definitely showed. They keyed in on those 2 players in the second half, made some adjustments, and those guys obviously can't do everything for that offense. Other people have to step up, and they just didn't. And the Raiders just flat out suck this year, apparently.
Yep.
Josh McDaniels,
I wasn't expecting the Raiders to be this bad, but
I'm not a fan of Josh McDaniels at coach.
Nope, me neither.
As a head coach, anyway, I'm just not a fan. He's not utilizing his talent, and that's been a running theme for him as a head coach. Like he just doesn't get things done with his players. What an NFL head coach should be.
Yeah, agreed.
We both got that wrong, right? Or wrong. Sorry, we got that one wrong. We both had the Raiders in that game, and the Colts just came out and won. So, the next one was a sloppy backup quarterback game. Both starting quarterbacks were out, the Rams and the Cardinals.
Yeah, that game was bad, man.
Yeah, I didn't really watch this game. I knew it was going to be bad. Cardinals came out on top. Colt McCoy played well. James Conner had a great game on the ground, 69 yards, 2 touchdowns. D-Hop with another big game receiving. Rondell Moore looked good. The Rams looked flat on offense with John Wolford, and he lost his star receiver for the season because of a sloppy throw. We lost Cooper Kupp. That is unfortunate for the Rams. I don't think they're going to do anything now at this point, not losing Cooper Kupp.
No, that he's the heart of that team, man.
Yeah,
100%.
I think that team's going to spiral at this point. They're spiraling already, and I think they're just on their way down.
Yeah.
I believe the Colts now. The Cardinals are getting starters back. They look good in this game though. They came out and played good football for all 4 quarters, so I think they'll be in a good position. That game was just a sloppy game. Backup quarterbacks, not fun to watch. Backup quarterbacks starting on both sides of the football.
Yeah.
The next game, this game was actually a really close game. The Cowboys and the Packers. It was a good game to watch. Dak definitely Dak underperformed. He's playing strangely overrated this year. Like he's not putting up crazy numbers, but he's putting up numbers to the point where he can keep his name in the picture of being good. But he definitely made some bad mistakes in this game, some bad throws. Tony Pollard's looked phenomenal. He stepped up big, and he should be starting, in my opinion.
I think he's a starting running back 100% in the NFL.
He's looked so much better than Zeke this year. The only reason he's not starting, in my opinion, is because they're paying Zeke more money. That's literally the only reason I think he doesn't start for them. And I believe Zeke's returning this week, so I'm sure Pollard's going to lose some of his carries. I think that's a mistake for the Cowboys, but them going forward, I think because they are playing well enough, they're going to go back to what they were doing before he got hurt, and Zeke's probably going to come in and take most of the carries again. It's unfortunate, because Pollard definitely deserves that starting role.
He's having a great year too, man. He's averaging 6 yards a carry.
Yeah.
Like that's a stat line you don't really see from even the best running backs in the league. I mean, 6 yards a carry, that's a first down in 2 plays.
Yeah, literally. And this was also a breakout game for CeeDee Lamb, which I'm really happy to see. That man has been through a lot in his short time in the league. He had a phenomenal game, 11 for 150 and 2 touchdowns. That's a pretty big game for a young guy. It was nice to see. On the flip side of the football, Christian Watson, 4 catches for 107 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Packers look really good in this game.
Yeah, they really did. Aaron Jones came out and ran the football well. Rodgers was actually pumped up. It was nice to see. Yeah. He had some passion in this game, which he normally doesn't show. He normally doesn't show any passion or emotion when he's playing football, and he came out and made connections with his receivers for the first time this year, in my opinion. Like, he actually looked like he was having fun. So it was nice to see, and the Packers ended up coming out with the win and overtime. A good game for them.
Mm-hmm.
Both got that one wrong.
No, we did. We did. The Packers definitely outplayed the Cowboys in that game.
The next game, it was the Chargers versus the 49ers in San Francisco. This game, obviously, we both saw the way it actually ended up. The 49ers are a better football team. They have the talent. They have the pieces. Christian McCaffrey just adds another level to that team. That offense just looks so much. The Chargers, obviously an injured team at the moment. Justin Herbert, another one of those quarterbacks that I think is playing overrated. He keeps his name in the game because he plays good football, but he also makes mistakes where he's inconsistent. I don't think you can literally put his name up there with the greats like Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes. Just can't at the moment. He's not playing that level of football. On top of that, though, he doesn't have his top 2 receivers. They've all also been hurt. Keenan Allen and Mike Williams have been out. Both been hurt all season long. Eckler's literally their offense. They have to run the football through him. He's their leading rusher and their leading receiver this year. He has like 60 something catches on the year, which is absurd for a running back. That team's just in a rough spot at the moment. Injury wise, the injuries piled up for them, and they keep piling up. I believe their starting tight end is now injured after this game, so they're in a rough spot. They lost that game. Saw it the way it was. That the last game of the week, the Monday night game, it was Eagles versus in Philadelphia.
Mind blown.
Crazy. Yeah, crazy game. I did not see this happening the way it would. But the Commanders ended up beating the Eagles, the undefeated Eagles in Philly. They came out on top. They just looked good. The Commanders looked really freaking good. Brian Robinson had a great game. Antonio Gibson had a good game on the grounds. Terry McLaurin, great, 8 for 128. Like, they just played good football. They really did. They outplayed the Eagles. Hurts kind of looked shell-shocked, especially in the second half, when they were down at halftime, and they just didn't show up in the second half either. It was weird. This was a weird game.
Yeah, it was. Little fun fact for you: when you're an undefeated team, apparently the Commanders are the team that you do not want to play, because in 2020, when the Steelers were 11-0, they played the Commanders and team to beat them to make them 11-1.
So they're just one of those, like,
crazy.
They're one of those teams that are slept on, I guess. Commanders are 5-5, so they're right in the thick of that division for the playoff spot.
They actually have a chance, and I think since they sat Carson Wentz down, they've looked better.
Heineke's showing some talent. I mean, he didn't look too great in this game. I mean, he didn't have a touchdown. He obviously threw a pick, but he's getting things done at quarterback for them. So, I mean, if he continues to make the right decisions and just play consistently, I think he can be okay. But that's where it comes down to. He has to be consistent. Has to make the right plays.
Yeah, I think he's definitely moved the ball a little bit better than Carson Wentz did earlier on in the year.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
yeah,
I didn't like them signing him in the place, so I've never been a fan of
him. That was a head scratcher to me as well. All I'm saying is Nick Foles is the only reason that man has, my opinion.
Yeah, you're right about that. So we both ended up 7-6. We didn't count that first game, obviously. We're both tied record after the first week. Pretty dope.
Yep.
You want to go through our picks for this week?
Yep. We can. You want to talk about Thursday's game?
We can, definitely.
Yeah.
We can. We made these picks before.
Yes.
Before the game, so we can definitely.
Okay.
Thursday night's game was insane, actually. Tennessee versus Green Bay. Tennessee, I didn't think would do it in Green Bay. I didn't think they'd go up to Lambeau and actually take this game, but they did.
Yeah. They
played great. Derrick Henry had a better game this week. Tannehill actually looked pretty good. He was consistent. Like, 22 for 27 is a pretty good stat line in the NFL. 333 yards passing, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Derrick Henry had 2 completed passes in this game.
Yes.
2 of them. Not just 1, but 2. He was 2 for 2 for 4 yards and a touchdown through the air. And on top of that, 28 carries for 87 and a touchdown on the ground. He looked good this game.
Yes. So earlier you said that, like, the Titans, you don't think they're a top team. I actually think they're a pretty complete football team, barring they've had some weird decisions with mix and mashing Malik Willis and Ryan Tannehill.
Well, Tannehill was hurt.
Yeah,
he has been hurt. He has been hurt, and I think they're utilizing the athleticism of Malik Willis to counteract the injury at quarterback. Tannehill hurt his ankle, had a hurt ankle all year, so him moving the football, like running with the football, has been an issue, and him moving around on the football field has been an issue. So I think them utilizing Malik Willis's legs
Mm-hmm.
to counteract that injury, actually, I think is a play to keep
Yeah.
Tannehill at least healthy or to let him get healthier. Uh,
Yeah.
so I think their decision making in that aspect has been good. I still don't believe they have the offensive talent to stick with some of these powerhouse teams like the Chiefs or the Bills in the AFC. Um, they're definitely going to get into the play.
Yeah.
They're going to win the
I
AFC South. They're
Mhm.
barring some major issue with that team.
Yeah.
I don't believe anyone else can AFC South. I don't think there's anyone close right now. Colts are terrible. The Texans suck, and the Jaguars are 7.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure by virtue they're going to win the South and make the playoffs. I just don't think they have the offensive power to stick with some of these teams. They have good talent. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I just don't think they have the power to stick with the offenses, Chiefs or Bills or the Dolphins even. So
Yeah.
I mean, just add those 3 in. I think those 3 teams are better in the AFC. The Titans, but they look good. They are a solid team.
Yeah.
I'll give them that. I don't think they have the talent, not the talent, the power.
Yeah. The only thing I would say about the Titans is they play a style of football that is so physical and demanding for football teams that come playoff time when it's cold and the weather's not the greatest and there's all types of conditions. This team really kind of just lays it on you offensively and defensively.
It is very true, and
Um,
their defense is definitely talented. They have a lot of heavy hitters on that team.
yeah, they are
Defensive
very
line.
aggressive.
I was surprised with the way they played this game because they were lacking a lot on defense. Game they had a bunch of injuries that a lot of players were out. So I was surprised to see that. But they still played well. Rodgers kind of struggled in this game passing the football.
Yeah, he had a few mistakes, but I will also say there were a lot of passes he made where like unfortunate things like drop passes and like miscommunication between him and his receivers. It looked more like what we've seen from the Packers all year,
Yeah,
kind of young receiving core, frustrated Aaron Rodgers.
yeah, definitely. I mean, Christian Watson again. So he came out with 3 touchdowns last week. Had 2 on Thursday night. So 5 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. I think that connection is growing there. It's not there yet,
It
in my
is.
opinion, but I think it's growing. I think the biggest aspect to take away from this game is Aaron Jones struggled. 12 carries for 40 yards, touchdown. 0
Yeah.
touchdowns on the ground. The running game struggled against the Titans front.
Yeah.
And even with the injuries, they had no Jeffrey Simmons up the middle, and
Yeah.
they couldn't run the football still. So that's crazy to me that the Titans stepped up when they should have, and they did, cut down the run.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of made the offense a one-trick pony, I guess. They only football in the second half, really, and it showed. They shut them down and they beat them.
Yep.
It's a good win for the Titans overall in Green Bay. We both had the Packers. We both lost that one.
Yeah, after seeing the Packers kind of catch fire the week prior. I was kind of like, maybe this team has a little bit of life. They did start the year 3-1, if I remember. So I was thinking maybe they were going to get back on track in this game as well and keep that momentum from in overtime from the week prior, but they didn't. The Titans just came out and said, "Hey, we are a more physically dominant football team than you. We're
Yeah.
going to win this game," and they did exactly that.
I think seeing the injuries that Tennessee had on the side of the football before I made my picks, I think that swayed my decision making a little bit. I thought that Green Bay would have attacked them more. They did. And I guess the Titans stepped up. I can't knock the Titans. Stepped up when they needed to.
Yep.
They played football. And that's
Heck yeah, man.
pretty much all that it comes down to is players stepping up and making plays when they need to. How you win football games. Especially in the NFL.
Yep.
So the next game starting tomorrow, obviously, Chicago versus Atlanta. Based on how Atlanta's been playing and how Justin Fields has been playing, and basically how everyone in Chicago's been playing, we both have Chicago winning the football game tomorrow. I don't see any outcome happening in this game. Chicago's just playing better football right now.
Yeah. I'm taking Chicago Bears here. I think Justin Fields might have another big game on the ground.
Yeah,
Considering the Falcons can't
based on
stop the
Carolina's
run.
running. Yeah, based on Carolina's running against them last week, that's how I see it. I'm starting Justin Fields in fantasy this week for that reason alone. I mean, I will be very surprised if Atlanta comes out and shuts down Chicago. Next
It's
game,
not like he set an NFL record with last two games.
yeah, no, 100%.
325 yards.
Yeah, no, he's definitely running well. The next game we got Philly versus Indianapolis. I truly believe Philly's just gonna snap out of whatever the hell happened on Monday night and smoke the Colts.
Yeah, God, that for me. That's a no contest.
Yeah, I mean,
I love Jeff Saturday. Great offensive lineman in his day, but I'm sorry, man. That Eagles team, they were mad after losing that game.
Yeah, I think they're gonna come out heated from that. But I also think that I don't believe that loss was anything to do with the Eagles not being good at all or making mistakes. I just think they came out flat, and I don't think that's gonna repeat itself. I think Sirianni will get back to where they should be. I think it was just a one-time, just a slip up. I guess they didn't come in to that game thinking they were just gonna get a free. I think they came into that game thinking it was going to be a lot easier than it was.
Yeah,
It's how it happens sometimes, especially with teams in this day and age in the NFL. Undefeated seasons don't happen. Don't.
Yeah, it's very hard to go unbeaten.
Yeah, even with an easy record like the Eagles have, they have the second easiest schedule in the NFL this year. So,
yeah.
The next game, we got the Jets up in New England against the Patriots. You're taking the Jets in this game. Tell me about that.
That Jets defense, man, they have played great. Sauce Gardner, and this is a shot in the dark. I guess I could say, but I think he's a top 3 corner, and he's a rookie.
I'm gonna agree with you and tell you he's a top 10 corner. So
that dude is shutting down some of the best receivers in the NFL.
Yep.
He's kind of him.
Yeah.
That defense is crazy.
They have pieces on that team that if they stick with them, that team can carry. Yeah. I think they have some work to do on offense still, in my opinion. Losing Breece Hall is hurting them offensively here. Zach Wilson's looked much better. He's not a top-tier quarterback by any means, but he's looked much better than he has in previous seasons.
Agreed.
So, I mean, he's looked much better. Receivers have stepped up. Nobody's had, crazy seasons by any means, but they've all stepped up for him playing the football. Their offensive line's played well. That team has definitely improved. They're a very improved team.
Yeah, they are.
Solly's definitely gotten that team together, and they're playing good football.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking the Patriots in this game. I like what I've been seeing with New England lately. The quarterback play has gotten much better. Injuries definitely riddled that offense for a little bit, but now that Mac Jones is healthy again, the running games looked good with Ramondre Stevenson taking over since Damian. Fuck his last name. I can't even think of the Patriots. Whatever.
Yeah, I'm not.
Since Ramondre Stevenson has taken over as the starting running back, I should know this, but I don't. I'm sorry to Patriots fans, but they've looked better as of late. With the team getting healthier, the wide receivers have been playing well for Mac Jones. Mac Jones is better since he's come back to start for them. That defense has been great, and that's an ode to their head coach. He's obviously one of the better coaches. Well, he's gotten that defense to play football well. No matter who's on that team, they always seem to step up. Rookie corners are playing well for them. Secondary has been phenomenal this year. I think they take this game. I'm going with the Patriots here. I think they're playing better at this point. We'll agree to disagree, and we'll see how the outcome happens tomorrow. But that's where we're at with that game. The next game we got, we're both taking the Commanders over the Texans. I think that's a no-brainer. The Commanders have looked good as of late. They're playing better. The run game's been great. The quarterback play has been consistent.
Yeah.
Put a little asterisk there, a star next to that. I mean, we'll see how it goes. The Texans just aren't. So we're both taking the Commanders. I think there's nothing else to say in this position. I think the Texans are honestly, without saying that they're sucking for a higher draft pick, I think they're purposely not playing well.
Yeah.
I think that's where they're at this point.
100%.
There's really not much else to say there. The next game, we got the Rams versus the Saints down in New Orleans. I think New Orleans comes out better than they did last week.
Yeah.
I think they're going to come back with more passion, especially in front of their home crowd. And they're playing a Rams team that just lost their star receiver.
Yeah. Kind of the heart and soul of that offense.
Yeah.
If Cooper Kupp had been playing, I probably would have picked the Rams in this game because the Rams still have a very mean Aaron Donald line, and the Saints don't really have anybody to stop that man. Like, anybody. Who's stopping that man? He's triple teamed all year. Yeah.
I think the Saints, though, I think they will come out with more passion in front of the crowd.
100%.
And they're healthy. That's the biggest key. They got back all of their receivers. Getting back to where they should be on paper.
Yeah.
But I think the loss on the road, I don't think they went into that game as prepared as they should. So I think with that extra time this week to play against the Rams home in front of their home crowd, I think they up in this game. We're both picking them. I think there's no other question about it. This next game would have been an interesting play in Buffalo, but the Browns versus the Bills is now in Detroit. So the weather aspect is completely out of question.
There's so much snow on the field right now.
They had 7 feet of snow, I believe, in Orchard Park, which is freaking
6 feet in the stadium.
Insane. Like, Nick Chubb's under 6 feet tall. Devin Singletary's 5'7". You wouldn't have seen them if
you wouldn't have seen them.
I mean, they do clear the field, so I mean, it's not like they would have been playing under. But it would have been a fun game to see.
It would have been crazy to see that game in those conditions.
It definitely would have. But they did move the game.
A lot of running the football.
They're playing in a dome in Detroit, so the weather's not going to be a factor in this game. The Bills are just a better team. They're going to come out on. I mean, that's all you need to know about this game. They're going to bounce back after that loss. That last game could have gone either way. So I mean, it wasn't any knock on either team in that game.
Yeah,
it could have gone either way. The Bills were playing great. They had some unfortunate plays and ended up being the way it did. It happens in the NFL. They're a better team in this game. The Browns just don't have that talent on. Because Nick Chubb probably will run the football a ton in this game. He'll probably have a lot of yards. Probably going to score. But Brissett's going to get outdueled.
I'm not too ready to say that, man. The Bills defense, man.
You think so?
Strong front, bro. It's a strong front. Look, all I'm going to say is the Vikings were on the 1 yard line. Couldn't punch it in. Punch it in.
The thing is, though, they didn't hand the ball off to Dalvin Cook in that game. If they handed the ball to Dalvin Cook, I think Dalvin Cook scores.
Man,
and they didn't do it.
Defensive front, man, it's so good.
We'll have to see how it goes.
Defense doesn't get enough credit, man. I really don't.
We'll have to see how that goes. We're both taking the Bills in this game. I mean, that's just a no-brainer. The Browns just don't have the talent that the Bills do.
They're not ready for that. It's going to be like 300 scrimmage yards for Josh Allen.
Yeah. The next game, it's your team versus the Panthers. Ravens coming off a bye. So I think they're well rested. They get back some players that were out in previous weeks. I believe they're getting back. I think they are getting back some of the players that were out in previous weeks. So I think they're in a better spot.
Mark Andrews is expected to play. He's a game time decision, but I'm pretty sure he's going to play. LAMAR, they said he's a game time decision because he has an illness right now. He didn't practice today, but they said on, like, they've already stated that he's most likely going to be playing in the game.
I think he'll
Uh,
play. I don't think they're
yeah,
gonna hold
I
him
don't see
out.
Lamar. I don't see Lamar sitting out. I don't see Mark Andrews sitting out. That was the whole reason he didn't play.
That's who I was trying to think of that I couldn't think of that they were getting back. Mark Andrews has been out, and he'll definitely be playing.
The Ravens have looked so good since getting Roquan Smith. The
Yeah,
defense looked sloppy the first 3 weeks, but ever since then, that defense has looked like a top 5 defense in the league easily.
yeah.
Not even a doubt in my mind. Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters have been playing great since they've both been back healthy. I don't see the Panthers doing anything in this game.
I
The
think you're good.
Ravens don't give up yards at all.
Yeah,
Um,
no, I think that Ravens team's gonna shut down Carolina. I don't see anything happening in this game for them. I will genuinely be shocked if Donta Foreman goes off again this week running the football,
I don't think
especially
it would
against
be
the
able to
Ravens
beat
team.
him. I don't think it'd be able to beat him. I think if the Panthers do anything, it'll be with DJ Moore. That's
And
in
that's the
my
thing.
mind the only.
I don't think PJ Walker is that guy. So
Yeah, they have to depend on DJ Moore having a crazy game, and PJ Walker getting him the ball, and that Ravens secondary has really played great ever since really playing against the Dolphins.
yeah, for real. I think that was an eye-opening game for that defense. I think
Yeah.
I think they have made a bunch of adjustments on that team. They are using Marlon Humphrey now instead of putting him on running backs, which I think was so stupid early on in the year. I don't know why your top corner would be guarding running backs 1-on-1. Like, I'm sorry, but Marlon Humphrey is their best corner, and you're utilizing him to cover
He's
a
a top
running
5
back.
corner in the league.
But
So
you're using him to cover a running back. Like,
he's been locking up the best receivers in the league
since then, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I'll
if
take
if
it,
he
man.
if
Hey,
he's
whatever
playing
works.
if he's if he's playing like a true corner, he's not guarding a running back for me. I'm sorry.
I 100% agree with you. He should have been guarding Tyreek Hill. That
I think those games
entire
would have been
Dolphins
different.
game.
I genuinely think the
Yeah.
Ravens would be in a better position if they were playing defense the way they are now.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the NFL. Things change, people make adjustments, stuff changes all the time. So
Exactly.
they're in a better position. We both have the Ravens in this game. I think
Pretty
it's
sure
a
the Ravens
no-brainer.
are like one of the best first half scoring teams in the league right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Their offense has definitely slowed down in the second half this year. They haven't been as good offensively in the second half. It hasn't hurt them to this point, I don't believe. If you don't factor in how their defense is played, I don't think their slower offense in the second half is a big issue. Teams tend to slow down in the second half. It's a normal thing in the NFL. So I mean, if you don't factor the defense at all, their offense hasn't been terrible in this. They're slowing the football down, using the clock, running the ball more.
Yeah.
They're playing efficiently second half. Let me say that. They're not making mistakes for the most part unless they're behind, which is normally how things go when you're into mistakes. Happens. So, like I said, I think the Ravens are in a better spot. They're playing better football. They're better than the Panthers. No brainer.
I agree with that, baby.
No brainer. They're beating Panthers in this game. The next game, Giants versus Lions in New York. Giants are playing better football. Like I said, Daniel Jones has been a consistent quarterback this year, making plays. Saquon Barkley is a top 2 running back in the NFL. I will make that statement. He's a top 2 running back in the NFL this year. The Lions just don't have an offense to compete with them. They have an offense, but they're just not going to compete in this game. Their defense sucks. And I will gladly make that statement. The Lions' defense sucks.
Yeah.
I'm taking the Giants in this game. You're taking the Giants in this game, as I can see on your pick over there. I think that's pretty much all you have to say. What were you going to say, though?
No, I think the Giants win this one very easily. The Lions have had 2 wins, and I'm sorry, Lions fans, but the curse is going to get re-enabled in this week. You guys aren't going to beat the Giants. There's no way.
Yeah, no, definitely. The next game, Raiders versus Broncos. What are your thoughts on this one?
Boring.
Yeah, I can agree with you.
It's going to be a snooze fest, man. Both teams have not played great football on either side of the football. I don't know. I got the Broncos winning because I think maybe they game the team that seems to choke everything. I mean, if you're losing to the Lions, I don't know. I don't know, man. The Raiders lost to the Lions. So,
They lost to the Colts.
oh, the Colts. That's right, the Colts. My
They
bad.
lost to Jeff Saturday and the
They
Colts.
lost to. That's right. My bad. My bad.
Yeah.
Everybody. Lions fans, don't get excited.
I mean, the only thing I will say is they are playing in front of their home crowd in Denver this week. I'm taking the Raiders in this game, though. I genuinely think that the offense will play better this week. I think they are getting Darren Waller back, if I am not mistaken. And if that's the case, that definitely opens up another threat on offense. Having one-dimensional receiver and one-dimensional running back, you can key on those two players and you shut down an offense. Having an extra threat, I think, is going to open up that team a little bit more, if I'm correct on that. I could be wrong entirely. I'm not exactly sure on that. But I think they're going to come out playing better than they did against the Colts. I think they're going to take this game in Denver. But we'll have to wait and see, obviously.
Yeah.
The next game, we have Cowboys at Minnesota. This should be an interesting game, I think. Dallas played a little strange in the last game against the Packers. Dak inconsistent, not playing phenomenal, but also not making like stupid plays entirely. So like he's playing to a point where he can keep his name in conversation, but he's not playing at a top tier level. I think the injury may have factored into that a little bit. I think he's still playing soft. He's not going full commit, which is understandable. He suffered an injury to a throwing hand. You don't mess around with your throwing hand quarterback in the NFL. So I can understand it if that's how it is. I don't know. I'm not Dak Prescott, so I have no idea. I think getting Zeke back, though, in this game is going to help that offense even more. I know Zeke hasn't been playing great, but I think getting him back in this game will help their offense more. And the Vikings, as great as they have been playing, and yes, they're coming off a huge win against the Bills, I think they're going to let this one slip by them. I think Dallas is going to take it in.
I'm going to have to very much so disagree. Minnesota's coming off that, oh my gosh, game. That's probably the game of the year. If I have to call the game of the year, I mean, there's still quite a few games left this season, but up to now, that's the game of the year. And that's a lot of momentum to beat the Bills in a fashion like that, where you were kind of supposed to lose.
Kind of supposed to. I'm pretty sure they were projected to lose the game. I think the Bills were favored by like 6 or something like that.
Yep, they were projected to lose that game, but they came out and won. And I think the Vikings they probably think they're the best team in football right now.
Yeah, I mean,
after winning that game like that, I feel like they're going to ride that momentum wave, and I don't think the Cowboys are going to do anything.
I guess we'll have to see. I guess we'll have to see how that one plays out. Next we got Cincinnati at Pittsburgh. You're taking Pittsburgh in this game. Tell me your thought process behind that.
TJ Watt's back, baby. And the Bengals don't got a no line. So who's stopping that man from getting to Joe? That's kind of where I'm going with this. TJ Watt came back, and the Steelers defense looked mean last week. I mean, mean. They look like different dudes.
They definitely were playing better football. I'll say that. They look like a different team.
That team looked really good defensively. I'm not going to speak about their offense. Defensively, I think they can win the football game on the defensive side of the ball. I really do. I think if TJ to Joe Burrow a lot, I think the Bengals have problems. Joe Burrow's not a great quarterback when he's getting hit.
I will agree with you on that. I will agree that if TJ Watt does get to Joe Burrow a lot, it could factor into it. The only thing I will say is that offense hasn't really lost a lot losing Jamar Chase. Tyler Boyd has stepped up. T. Higgins has stepped up. Their tight end play has actually stepped up since Jamar Chase went down. The players are stepping up for that offense. I will say that. They didn't play last week. They're coming off a bye week. They still don't have Jamar Chase back. He's obviously going to be out for an extended period of time. But the players have been stepping up for that offense. So, yes, the Steelers' defense has stepped up since TJ Watt's come back, but their offense, I don't think, can compete with the star talent that the Bengals have on offense. So I'm taking the Bengals in this game just solely off the fact that the players are playing well on offense. I will say, though, that it will come down to probably how their defense plays against that offense to keep them in that game. Because I don't think the offense, just offense versus offense, the Bengals have better players. They have a better offense.
The Bengals win if we're talking offense, but I think defense plays a huge factor in the NFL.
I agree with you.
It's way more important than offense in the NFL, and I think the Steelers will play kind of what they did last week, having TJ Watt back, and just that O-line just crumbles.
Yeah,
Against somebody as good as TJ Watt, I don't think they're slowing that man.
I agree with you on that. I definitely do. We'll have to see how that plays out. It should be an interesting. It was supposed to be the Sunday night game, and they actually flexed it out of Sunday Night Football. So the Sunday Night Football game is actually now the Chiefs and Chargers, and we're taking the Chiefs. I mean, I think that's a no-brainer call on this one. The Chiefs just have one of the best offenses when it comes down to it, and the Chargers are hurt on offense. So how can you side with a team that's hurt versus the best team in football right now, offensively? Yeah. I mean, there's really nothing else to say. Pat Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. Justin Herbert's been playing. Not only is he hurt, but he hasn't had his top two receivers, and his starting tight end is potentially hurt in this game. Yeah. It may not play. So with the lack of offense that they have, although he is getting Keenan Allen and Mike Williams back in this game, they are both playing tomorrow night. So we'll have to see on that. I still don't think they're going to win this game, but we'll have to see how they play.
Yeah.
And then the Monday night game is San Francisco versus the Cardinals. You're taking the Cardinals and Kyler Murray in this game? What's your thought on that?
Yeah, so I think the Cardinals have looked a lot better offensively since D-Hop's return. Truthfully, I'm kind of going with the Cardinals more so because it's kind of like just,
This your flyer pick?
Yeah, this is like my, man, this could be crazy if I get this right kind of thing pick.
Like my pick last week of the Vikings over the Bills?
Yeah. The Bills are the favorites. I think the 49ers are probably the favorites in this game. But this is my pick where I'm just like, hey, if I'm right, I'm right.
I respect that. Yeah. I respect that. I think the 49ers have just ample amounts of extra talent on that offense. I think they have almost too much talent on that offense. I think Deebo Samuel has fallen off just solely because of McCaffrey being in that offense.
Taking the reins of that offense. He's the captain now.
He is. I mean, and that just makes sense. McCaffrey is one of the best running backs in the NFL. Fantasy-wise, I think he is number 3 right now, I believe, offensively, which is right where he should be, in my opinion, when he's healthy. Deebo Samuel was the star in that offense before McCaffrey joined, and McCaffrey kind of just slotted right where Deebo Samuel was as that running back receiver flex guy, and it's pushed Deebo into kind of almost like a limbo of just being a receiver now, and I think it's hurting Deebo's value, I think, in that offense. I generally think they have almost too much talent there. They have players that are stars that aren't even getting the football on that offense anymore, which sucks. But I mean, that's the NFL. It's a business. You make plays to get players that you think are going to help your team, and some players lose their spots because of it. I think Deebo's just kind of stuck in a spot right now where he just doesn't know he doesn't know his ID in that offense.
Yeah.
But I'm taking San Francisco. We'll see how that one plays out on Monday Night Football. And I think that's all we have for today. Any last comments?
No, I think everything's great. I'm really looking forward to tomorrow's games, man. I'm really excited. I'm always excited for football. Go Ravens. Let's get it.
My Dolphins are on a bye week this week, so I can't say too much. But I'll still enjoy the football games. I'll be rooting for the Ravens tomorrow.
Heck yeah. Let's get that.
All right, Dallas. Well, I think that's all for today. I'll catch you guys in the next episode, and we'll recap Week 11's games. I'll see you guys later. Peace.
Peace.